Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Crashy, and first and foremost I want to start this video out by explaining that this is going to be my video submission to the Silver Gaming Recruitment Challenge. Now the Silver Gaming Recruitment Challenge is going to be a team started by Exalted and former Congarna member, amazing YouTuber, really cool guy as far as I can tell. And I don't know, I like what he has going. He definitely kind of instilled a sense of looking for new talent and looking for people that he thinks has the ability to grow, and he's looking for people that are being themselves. And I just felt like maybe I fit the bill. Maybe I can kind of put myself in a position to grow myself, and we'll see what comes of it. All in all, excited to see what it's all about and to see if he finds some kind of potential in me. In any case, this video, like a lot of my other content, is going to be a very topic video. I actually have a video of the World Cup Duos. I believe it was the Safinzate win from today's World Cup finals, and all in all I want to talk about my experience watching the World Cup today, the duos, how it ran, what I thought, and overall just kind of share my thoughts on like the event and my experience with it overall. So it started off pretty early this morning. I actually woke up, didn't get a whole lot of sleep, but I jumped in a call with some of the other Carbon boys, and we just were into the games. Me and Kip were really excited, and I mean, it just started off so strong. The NA teams came to play today. They were just popping off, and as the event progressed, EU, specifically Aqua and his duo, whose name I botched, and I'm just gonna leave it at his duo for now, just did such an amazing job. Back-to-back wins, consistently getting themselves to endgame, and ultimately is the reason why they take home the Duo World Cup, first place championship, which admittedly is amazingly deserved and super exciting to see. But a lot of the strategy that I was looking for are things that I think people just don't want to do. I want to start seeing people get contested, when it comes down to these later games. I want to see people start shake things up, and I think right now in the state of Fortnite, and maybe because there's just only 6 games, everybody is a little bit more comfortable continuing to drop where they drop, continuing to repeat the way that their games are going in order to try to give themselves the best case scenario to make it to endgame. I'm really surprised more people lower on the leaderboard or in the middle of the leaderboard aren't shaking things up. But ultimately, an amazing experience. I was definitely rooting for Safinzate, and that's kind of why I'm watching their gameplay now, their win now. But I was really rooting for Safinzate, kind of like the NA favorites in my opinion to do it. But also, man, Dubs and Mega putting on an amazing performance. Mega specifically, if you are watching, if you're paying attention to the kill feed, if you're just looking at the performance, Mega was slaying. I mean, it was just so consistent how many kills he was able to get, and I mean, he also got a lot of points solo after, in one of the games, I think it was like the second game, if I remember correctly, after Dubs had fallen. And so just the ability to keep himself alive, the ability to consistently make endgame is really what you want to see out of a lot of these players. Now, the experience overall in terms of, watching the event and what I think about the event, I still just kind of, I don't know, there's still something that's left to be desired with viewing Fortnite. It's a little bit rough to watch. Even the new, like, spectator client or how whatever we're calling it or whatever it really is still a little choppy, and overall I feel like you get the best points of view when things get a little bit later and they start doing like multiple points of view and it's not just following like a single person. You start to get a little bit more context, but when they go into those viewpoints, those like third person like flyover cams, you miss the map. So there was a lot of situations where I would be watching the event and I knew, because I'd been paying attention to the game, that a new zone was about to come out, and it would take so long, like 15, 20, 30 seconds for them to eventually get back to a point of view that showed the map again. So a lot of the time I'd be seeing people doing things, but in my brain, especially as a competitor, someone that plays the game consistently or plays the game a lot at a competitive level, I didn't have any context about who I was looking out for. So like, let's say I'm looking out for Safinzate, I didn't have any context on whether they needed to move, what their decision making was ultimately trying to achieve, and that is a little bit frustrating for me. I mean, that's really my biggest gripe, is I just can't tell what their next goal needs to be. I can't tell if they're chilling in the zone, or I can't tell if they need to move soon. And you can kind of put the pieces together when you're watching them because you're starting to see their decisions, but I almost want to have the information and watch their decisions after. I think it would be a better opportunity for me to learn and a better viewing experience overall, but not the worst thing in the world. I think the overall observation and like observers were doing pretty well. Trying to think what other things really stood out to me. I mean, just some of the performances, Vinny and Zexro, having the really bad game in this game specifically where they die off spawn as they rotated down off Viking and were able to come back with a second place or a first place win in the second game. That's a phenomenal performance, and it's definitely something interesting to see when I was watching the later games in this event, where I'm starting to look at a lot of different teams. I was looking at Cease and Elevate, I was looking at Falconer and Arkham, I was looking at Aqua and his duo, I was looking at Vinny Zexro, Saf and Zay, because you knew that if any of them had a pop-off game, they were instantly going to fly to the top of the standings. And so it was really important to kind of, or not just important, it was really fun and exciting to be able to feel like you're a part of that experience. And at any given moment, especially when the end games are getting really hectic and everything's going down, at any given moment I can look down at the kill feed and just say oh, okay, I see Falcon's still alive. And then it was so impactful to watch the end games as they were progressing and seeing which duos were still alive. And all in all, I just think it was such a fun experience to watch. I don't know. I mean, I've watched a lot of competitive Fortnite. A lot of the events that I have watched, you don't even really watch them, or at least for me, I haven't really watched them all in their entirety. It hasn't been something that is particularly all that interesting. And I think with the other thing that goes into it is with a $30 million tournament, Storm Surge was a different beast. I feel like everybody knows it exists. Everybody's prepared for stacked end games, but the conservative play that's going to come out from people when there's this much money on the line, $3 million for first place, it kind of creates a scenario that we haven't seen. So maybe there was more conservative play than some of these players are used to. Maybe maybe they just didn't quite have the damage they needed, or maybe their pathing was different. Maybe people changed up strategies based on the fact that they needed to get more damage in. So ultimately, it was interesting to watch the people that were fighting early and being contested, because they were the ones that were safe from Storm Surge for a little while, but also they were the ones that were going into mid game with low mats, and so, because some of those fights, those early game fights, if you were watching some of the Lucky Landing fights, I can't even think of who it was, some of those Lucky Landing fights were really long, and even if you come out with those kills, you're not necessarily in the most profitable position. But all in all, I think that my experience as a viewer was just super cool. It was like one of the funnest things I've watched in a while. It felt like, for me, because I'm not a big sports fan, I played football for like 7-8 years, something like that, all through high school, from since I was a little kid. I just don't really care about sports, but this felt like my Super Bowl. Being a giant esports fan, always loving to watch tournaments and getting the whole experience. I really wish I would have gone to the World Cup. I didn't, chose not to go, but this felt like my Super Bowl, and I enjoyed every second of it. So tomorrow we do have the solo World Cup finals. I'm really excited. There's definitely some players I'm looking forward to, Tfue specifically, especially I'm NA. I gotta look out for the NA players, but there's a lot of big talent. Bizzle, I think, will win the event. I think Tfue will do very, very well, and then there's just so many other players that it's impossible to even touch on. But all in all, what an amazing event. I can't wait, like my last video, I can't wait to see what is ahead of us for the future of competitive Fortnite esports. There's just got to be so much more, whether that's a World Cup 2, whether it's a Pro League, more weekly tournaments, etc., with the addition of Nate and Hanser, and I'm just looking forward to it. So let me know in the comments section down below, what did you think of the Duo World Cup finals? Who are you rooting for in the solo finals tomorrow? Please do not leave without leaving a like. I appreciate you for checking out this video, and I'll see you on the next video.
Do you feel your bones start shaking?